Hello there, sweet cheeks. Welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the rise of Skywalker, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
Hello there. I'm Joe Dator, and I'm not dead. Not yet, anyway.
And I'm Suzen Tekla Kruglnska, and I'm with a little operation called the Comedy Film Funnel.
Welcome back, Film Funnel fanatics. I guess those are your listeners. They're the Film Funnel fanatics. So
right, these are the funnelers.
The
funnelers.
Well,
I like that it's a little operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a Kentucky Fried Movie reference.
Well, welcome back, Joe and Susan, and welcome back, listeners, as we talk about minute number 41 of The Rise of Skywalker. Minute number 41 starts with FN 237. Is that his name? FN 237 or FN 1138?
2187, right?
2187?
Yeah, 2187.
All right, I just call him Finn, and it's him gazing off up into space as the Imperial shuttle takes up into the air. And it ends a minute later with Rey screaming for Chewie. Exciting minute.
She screams Chew, and I don't. It gets a little cut off. She screams Chew.
She can't take the time to pronounce Chewie. So she's just going to call him Chew from now on. So.
Well, I assume she's calling for the Academy Award-winning film editor Richard Chew, who edited the original Star Wars, because they desperately need him now.
Right.
On this.
Shots fired.
Chew. Cut now. Cut to the other other angle.
Editing is all over the place. But yeah, so Chew, please, we need you. Or that other guy, Hoik.
I'm just assuming somebody was just kind of wolfing down their food on the thing.
Chew, come on. Take human
size bites.
Someone could get killed choking on something up there, right? She doesn't want anybody to get Chew. You don't want anything terrible to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
Forced chew is the kind of the antidote to forced choke.
So we'll take a bet that in the next minute she'll be continuing the sentence and saying, "Your food."
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Choose wisely.
Choose slowly, carefully.
Choose life.
65 times.
Relax.
So I'm going to say chew rocket is going to be the next thing that she says. But
okay.
That's
and
that's for the Dreamcasters.
I think she's saying choose life.
So this is the minute where Rey. So they think Chewbacca is in that ship being taken away, and this is where Rey busts out her Force grab superpower. Probably the most ambitious Force grab we've seen to date. Can we say that?
Yeah.
So generally, it's a lightsaber, right? That's mostly what we see. People wrestling over lightsabers, force grabbing lightsabers, and
it's a moderately sized object which has no propulsion of its own. So
Crates,
I could do it. You could do it probably. I've never tried, but maybe I could do it. Move a thing with grab a thing with my mind. Hey, give me that pencil.
Compare to Yoda lifting the X-wing out of the swamp. There's more. The ship is actually trying to fly away here versus going.
Right.
Is there more? Like lifting something off the ground involves overcoming a lot of inertia, but if the ship is just already floating, flying, and just kind of being propelled, is it harder or easier to stop it from moving once it's in motion than it is to lift it? Not only from nothing to lift it, but to lift it out of a swamp.
Right. Well, it's got to be. I mean, she's overcoming this force that's coming out of the engines there.
Yeah, the engines are. It's propelling.
But if Yoda is dealing with the thing is soaking wet and it's got seaweed all over it. Yeah. So that's going to
water's heavy.
Yeah. It's probably got waterlogged. It's probably filled with water. So that's a thing. That's a consideration. Also, he's a small frog, which is a difference there. That might have something to do with it.
Right.
Do you think
this is a bigger...
Go ahead, Susan.
This is a bigger craft, I would think. Bigger, heavier craft.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true, too.
That's true, yeah, also.
Do you think Yoda
seems exhausted after getting the next one out of the...
That's true.
Which this doesn't wind Rey. She's much more, she's thrown, but
well, let me just say,
for different
sorry,
reasons.
Alex, but just that she's in the moment. She's like, she wants to get Chewie back, so Yoda was just like demonstrating something, whereas she's like, holy cow, I gotta stop this thing. It's much more of a in the moment passionate. It's like a mother lifting a car off of her child. You know what I mean? Like you hear
the adrenaline.
the adrenaline. That's a whole different story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yoda's probably all out of practice as well. I mean, he probably hasn't lifted anything heavier than a large rock the whole 20 years he's been on Dagobah. Unless you think he works out just to stay in practice. He's always lifting stuff up and no.
He's got just like a big thing that he moves back and forth. Like when it wakes up, moves it over there. Then the next day wakes up, moves it back to where it was, just to kind of keep those muscles in place.
Well, there's no landscapers on Dagobah. He's got to
we don't know.
Move.
Yeah, that we know.
He's got to deal with his whole area there, his whole yard. He's maybe he's moved all those trees there. When he got there, it was
horribly
a
overgrown.
vacant lot.
His neighbors, it just looks like, suburban Chicago or something like that. It's just like, a nicely manicured lawn with a fence and like a tree with a little swing hanging from it. But then Yoda's just let it all go because he was like 900 years old. He's like, I don't care about mowing the lawn.
They're like, we wouldn't have snakes in this neighborhood if it wasn't for you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I like the only swamp on this street.
The Dagobah next door is full of people complaining about... what's that old frog who lives on down the block? Can he control his trees?
Yoda is the Munsters of Dagobah. So the other thing is that she seems
they
pretty...
run away in fast motion.
She seems pretty determined to do this, and yet never raises up her other hand. Do you think a two-hand force grab or pull would be more... It feels like that would be more effective. But
I don't know.
We've never seen anyone do it with two hands that I can recall. Although I think Yoda, maybe when he was throwing the remember when Count Dooku was pulling giant rocks down and stuff? I thought I remember Yoda kind of pushing stuff around. No, we're not going to yes and this. All right.
No,
moving on.
She doesn't do it with two hands because if you do it with two hands, something could go terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Like you might shoot lightning and kill someone.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, she so often she needs the other hand to like grab for a saber or something. Something's always go. Yeah. So you have Kylo coming up on this side. You have them calling her. She just wants to. You want to just focus, on one thing and have that other hand just in case. Because she often does do that where she's doing something with one hand and then she's like, boom, snaps up something else with the other hand. She does do that. So I think it makes sense.
Maybe does she have a pushing hand and a pulling hand?
Oh, I like this.
Oh, that's it.
So if she adds in the other hand, it would kind of counteract and it would be negative.
I think the other hand stabilizes. You have to, there's some sort of rule in the training that you use the one hand to create a connection and then the other hand to ground yourself to wherever you're standing or something like that. Or, then so you can't, if you use two hands, you'll actually go flying along with the thing you're trying to lift.
Oh,
and
that's true.
you could like throw your whole center of gravity off if you use two hands that way.
The other desperately grabbing onto the ground with the force is the other hand.
Yeah, I think that's what she's doing. There's got to be. That's why we've never seen a two-handed force pull, force grab, forcing of things. I guess it's called the force because you're forcing things to do things, right? Isn't that where the name comes from?
It is a force. But it's like so. It's such a universal force that is the force.
I think that's one of Yoda's bits of advice: is if it can't do it, force it. Keep forcing it.
Right.
Seems very Jedi.
If it doesn't work, force it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Force it.
But
force
speaking
or
of
force
which,
not.
Just force it. That's Yoda with a little swoosh.
Speaking of which, so then, we have Kylo coming along, Mr. Ren, and he, so I thought it's interesting. Ren. I think it's interesting that, so I assume he's pushing it away, or is he also trying to pull it? Well, none of it makes sense because really, why doesn't he just give her a zap and push, she just, so again, like we're talking about how she has to balance herself and concentrate and all that stuff. Seems like he could just like tickle her armpit. Yank her hair. I don't know. It's not that hard to throw. It wouldn't be that hard to throw it. Just like boom. like a mean brother.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of
like a wet finger in the ear or something.
Yeah.
Exactly. That would throw her completely.
do want to come back to her armpit because we're going to talk about that in a second. But I also had that question.
Thank
and
you.
Luckily, in the
They're waiting.
In the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker, they do kind of go a little bit into you see Kylo Ren's mindset because he just came out of the
he just emerged from a gigantic crash.
Yeah, a horrendous TIE fighter crash.
Yeah. Which you would have guessed he might have died in that, by the way. Wouldn't you have guessed that maybe he died? Because that was quite a crash. You would have guessed
she
maybe
she didn't
died.
scream Ben and reach out and try to, she wasn't as upset about that. She just thought she blew
kind
up
of made
Kylo.
it happen, so it would be kind of hypocritical for her to now be suddenly concerned about him.
Kylo Ren yanked off his mask to get some fresh air. He was an idiot. His stomach roiled with this inevitable certainty as he gingerly stepped around the burning wreckage of his tie. She had run like a frightened womp rat, and in his blind rage, he had succumbed to the temptation while not pausing to consider that maybe she had a plan. He was relieved that he hadn't killed her, which was an interesting revelation to him. But then he sees her. It was like a flying transport. It didn't matter what or who was inside that transport that made Rey desperate to prevent its escape. He was not going to let her have it. So he reached out, felt the massive machinery in his hand, yanked it towards himself. So he's not even thinking. He's just like, Rey wants that? No, I want that. It's like
that's what I felt like. It was like a sibling thing. Because really, it would make more sense if he was pushing it away. But it looked like he was pulling it like some, your brother who's just like, no, I want that friggin' last piece of cake or whatever. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Sort of
yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's very juvenile. The note I wrote is that it looks like they're both trying to hail the same cab.
Yeah,
totally. Who would you? You
like
probably
one of them's on one corner, and she's like a few feet up, and there's one taxi, and that's it. They're both desperately trying to force hail a taxi.
Yeah.
This whole scene is a nice bit of ring theory because if you recall in the last movie, Kylo Ren and Rey were fighting, doing a similar thing about the lightsaber. They were both kind of pushing and pulling it, and then it blew up. And much like that scene, this is instantly rolled back as quickly as possible, so that this didn't really happen. So it's a nice bit of continuity.
We don't know anything.
Force rewind.
Force rewind.
Well, it did really happen, and I don't just mean in the movie.
What really happened?
Oh,
this scene really happened. Somewhere in the world. This could all be happening right now.
Exactly.
Can you prove that it didn't happen? Shocking true facts. Can you prove?
I don't see the shuttle out my window, so that gives me reason to believe that it was destroyed.
Right.
By the Empire.
Therefore, that's evidence towards this really happening.
You'd see it right there. There's a really nice lens flare in this, but it's just on a hand. It's
There's
like
a
really dramatic lens flare, but it's just on a shot of a hand.
A solo hand.
Hand flare is like
that's some drama coming in there just for one like an insert shot of a hand. Also, it seems like there's lens flare on both of them.
Right.
Like the sun is behind both of their heads somehow.
Twins.
How many suns does Pisana have? Do we know?
Who knows? It could have 100. Who the hell knows? It could be anything. Yeah,
somewhere between 0 and 100 suns.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's more than none. We know that. So it could have as many as you want. That's kind of the fun of Star Wars, right? Is anything can be anything.
I'm trying to look up.
I don't know.
What do you think the pilot is thinking during this whole thing? Is the pilot like, hey, I can't, Mike, why am I moving?
Yeah.
Does he or she know that is that Force can do this sort of thing? It's just common knowledge, or they think they're just stalling out?
I mean, can they even see what's going on in the ground? They're like, that's funny. We're moving, but we shouldn't be. I'm picturing two very calm kind of airline pilot kind of guys. I don't know.
They're making announcements.
Did you try the thrusters? Yeah, I tried. Of course, I tried the thrusters.
Did you try the thrusters?
What do you take me for?
Attention passengers, we're experiencing some mild force-related pulling. Apparently there are two powerful force users, both trying to bring the aircraft down, but it should blow over in just a few seconds. Just remain in your seats. Make sure your seatbelts are fastened.
Imagine that, like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I can't imagine what and who is on that shuttle? What are they shuttling there? Who did we lose in this one? I know spoiler alert, it's not who we think we lost here.
Damn it. See,
well, I don't know. Why not?
Oh, you spoiled it.
Well, no. So I was going to have...
Susan hasn't seen the movie. So.
I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know what's happening.
Oh, but it might not be who you think.
Well, so let's say it. We're not doing this right. So the thing blows up. Some of the viewers who haven't seen this movie don't know what we're talking about. It blows up. Yeah. It blows up. Through lightning comes out of her fingers. The thing blows up, and it's like chew.
Somebody whose name begins with Chew is on that shuttle.
I wanted to.
Whose name begins with Chew.
I wanted to, because I was, this is a very dramatic moment. This is very important. And, any death is of great significance in Star Wars universe, especially someone as special as Chewie. So I have this thing, it's the Chewie death clock. This is the Chewie death clock. So I don't know why I did this. It may, I have a feeling there's a point I'm going to want to make in the future. I have just a feeling. I don't know what it is. But that I might want to make a point about this death, this very tragic moment.
Sure.
So I wanted to tick away the seconds and minutes of Chewie's death. So of course it could be 15 years. I mean, you're dead. Yeah. Once you're dead, you're dead. So it's quite a long clock.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, after this week, can you mail that to us so we can, whoever is going to be on next week, they can
keep
continue
it going. Keep it going.
Or maybe we'll recreate it digitally.
So in this, now the thing fell off. All right, I'll fix it. But so so I'll use my finger. So we have in this 1 minute episode, we have 3 seconds of Chewie death. So I'm going to mark that on this clock. And I'd like to keep marking it. And I don't know. There might be some point I want to make at some point. But in the future, I don't know. Just
noted.
All right. 3 seconds. Let the
3
record
seconds.
show.
Chewie's been dead for 3 seconds.
Death of Chewbacca. This is, it's a big moment. And
it's a big moment.
I got to say, it is very, very dramatically played out because the music cuts off and there's no music when it happens. There's just
it was diegetic.
Effects,
it was coming out of the
not
ship.
Until and it's not until she sort of says the name that the music comes up again. The emotions of the music come up when the music is about her considering what she's done and what's just happened, and that's when the music starts to swell and the emotions come in, and the actual moment itself plays out with no music at all. It's really stark and horrifying, It's a very effective scene if you take this minute and isolate it and just look at it by itself. But what crazy person would do that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, just gonna say, as much as I do love the music in the Star Wars movies, obviously, I also love moments when there is no music. So
I agree.
Yeah, and it's a really good choice here to play it out with no music at all. Despite my many, many misgivings about this film, which you are going to be treated to over the course of the next week, there's a lot of things in this movie I like. There are many, many things in this movie I like. I could tell you some of them right now. I like the fact that there is no laborious explanation for how Palpatine returned. I've always said on this show many times that somehow is enough of an explanation for me in most cases. It's fine. It's Star Wars. If I didn't like somehow as an explanation, I wouldn't like Star Wars at all. I mean, come on. What are we talking about here? And so I like that. I love Babu Frick. Who doesn't love Babu Frick? I mean, and I want to see a whole movie of just Babu Frick. I think he should get his own series of films.
Be careful what you wish for.
I know. But I'll be.
We got more Babus. We did get more Babus. We got more Babus already. We've already got some Babus.
Yeah, that's right. We got some more Babus on the Mandalorian. It was really fun, And I like little Dio, the little droid, little funny little droid. He looks cool. I don't like that he's a human voice. That seems very incongruous to me. But I do like his design. It's such a great little design. A lot of I like all the C-3PO stuff. C-3PO really gets to do a lot in this movie. And even though there's way too many droids, in my opinion, they came up with a cute droid to be cuter than R2-D2, and then they had to come up with an even smaller, cuter one to be even cuter than BB-8. What? I don't know.
The cousin Oliver.
It's a crowded, cute droid field, but somehow C-3PO gets to have the most screen time of any of those droids, and he's really funny in this one. Hey, have you noticed they eliminated Kenny Baker's job entirely.
Yes.
There's no little person in R2-D2 when he rocks back and forth anymore. He didn't even rock back and forth anymore, as far as I can tell. They just decided, we don't need that anymore.
Well,
he's
not
barely
very
in
much
these,
this.
barely in the movies at all. So I don't think
Right,
that's-
exactly.
Right.
So it's just like cut
Although
out the
I
part
think-
where he rocks back and forth, and we save a bunch of money on hiring someone to go in there.
I think in the prequels that was the case, right? They were just they use your remote control, and if they need him to move, then they'll computer generate him.
Yeah, and I think the last time they gave Kenny Baker a credit, it was just ceremonial. But
Right.
I, of course, have the controversial theory that Kenny Baker was never really useful on the set. He never really did anything.
You and Golden Tony feel the same way.
Yeah.
He didn't play R2-D2. Come on. Yeah, I mean, if anything, Anthony Daniels created the negative space around R2-D2 as a character, which created the character.
Right.
I believe in that. And the best thing in the movie, the absolute greatest thing in this movie, I mean, come on, we have to say it. Snap Wexley dies.
Well, we thought he died before, so don't be too sure about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Somehow he'll
Kind of-
return.
He could have a whole series.
Which everyone will love.
Somehow he'll return.
Well, can
Everyone but me.
I want to just
Yeah,
set this
Susan,
up a little bit because Joe's saying he doesn't like this movie, and he's generously giving us his little things that he will give this movie credit for. So just so there's a little contrast here because
There's more. I haven't even finished my list of things I like about this movie. So,
all right, we'll let you finish.
I'm not a monster. I'm
But
not
just
a monster.
on another, if I come back this week, which I hope you will invite me back, I would like to have a little space too, because the thing is, I love this movie. I love this movie,
Yeah.
and
See, there we go.
actually, I'll give you a little behind the scenes action. Joe was like, "I'm not going to go on that season. I hate that movie." And here he is. Here he is to be the Bernie bro to my Hillary Clinton vote. I think that's what I think. We're canceling each other
Well, it's
out. Our
important
votes are canceling each other out.
It's
which is
important
fine,
to mention
which
that
is
I've been drugged.
Right. In order
Huh?
to appear
I know.
on the show.
Yes, indeed. I would
No,
feel
no, I'm
differently
just
if I
saying-
worn
Mr.
under such
Dator
heavy
appeared.
sedation.
I'm just setting it
Courtesy
up.
of Valium.
There may be a little disagreement going on during the week.
No,
so.
there's gonna be a big disagreement
There's gonna
going
be a big
on. There's going to be an all-out
Joe.
catfight going
Now,
on.
Cancel
you
the
see Joe
Valium.
putting some effort into this episode. I just want to point out my Ray-Do. You see?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you got the
So-
clock, the
Excellent.
radio. You really
Nice.
brought it this
I got
time.
the Ray-Do. No, I did this even during The Force Awakens when you weren't doing video. I still had a Ray-Do. Every time I come on this show, I have a Ray-Do. When there's a Ray episode, I'm doing a Ray-Do, but you couldn't see it in the podcast, but now you can see it. So I'm
Wow.
very
Well, I
excited.
thought you were relationshiping Ray and Dio.
Ronnie Dio.
Ray and
Ray-Do.
Shabadoo from the Reagan. Speaking of Ray's hair, let's talk about her armpit, in that there is none in it, and this implies that either people shave their armpits. We have similar beauty standards.
Mm-hmm.
Standards, quote, that's in air quotes for those of you who are just listening and not watching, similar beauty kind of, norms or expectations
Norms.
in terms of grooming, or is that just not the way that her humanoid species grows?
Wait, say that again. You're saying she does not have.
So she doesn't have, we see her very clearly, we see her armpit when she reaches out to see it, and
Yeah.
she does not have armpit hair.
Yeah.
So therefore, what can we extrapolate from that? What are our thoughts on that? Is that just,
Well, I'm doing a tribute to Ray, obviously.
there you
so
go. You've got the Ray do,
I've got the do, and I've got the lack of.
You're sleepless as well.
And the Ray
so,
don't.
yeah.
It'd be funny if she
But
did it. She
have
raised
we
her
ever
arm
seen a
up.
human armpit in Star Wars before at all?
That's what
Yes.
I'm trying to think of.
Luke,
Yeah?
so Luke's
right. Luke
armpits.
Shywalker was shirtless on Dagobah. And
We
shirtless
probably
and,
saw Princess
and
Leia when-
impressive. Yeah.
No, here's the real question: have we ever seen a woman with hairy legs in Star Wars?
Mala.
Yeah,
I don't-
Mala in the holiday special.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So it's I don't know, universal that it's intergalactic that we like our women with. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. Interesting.
Well, it's first of all, it's not universal, by the way. But
Galactic.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, I think I chalk it up to humans in this world are not biologically the same as us.
Right. Okay. So they don't grow hair. there.
Maybe not.
Anywhere.
They don't have to be. I mean, you can explain a lot of things by saying they're just a different species from us. They look a lot like us, but they're not necessarily the same inside. For all we know, how do these creatures even reproduce? Do they lay eggs? We don't know.
Well, they can't be. I mean, yeah.
That would explain the Phantom Menace. Shmi had just laid an egg. That was,
yeah, right.
You know, let's go back and add that to the canon to see how people would flip out.
They don't get body odor, bad breath, or a lot of things that normal people have to worry about.
Although, scented breath will come back in a bad breath will come back. I'll bring that up again. But the I'm not. I didn't really have a point with that other than it's notable. I guess it would have been more distracting if she had reached up to grab the ship and it had a very hairy armpit. We'd all be like, "Whoa, Rey!"
Yeah, it would have been.
Just
because
of our internet would have gone crazy.
Right.
The internet would have gone crazy.
So they should have just avoided the issue by having her facing away from the
thing. Or rearrange the choreography.
Yeah.
But there is shaving, right? We've seen people go from having facial hair to not having facial hair.
I don't know if we have. Who?
We've seen it the opposite. We've seen someone grow a beard, but we haven't seen anyone remove a beard.
Right.
Have we?
Not that I can think of.
So maybe
that we've seen that we have that there is an ability to do either one obviously means it's just an option for them. But the question, more interesting is like, would a Wookiee? How come we don't see Wookiees with more interesting experimenting with? They have so much hair to work with. I mean, I don't know. You could do some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah, full body mohawk, just right up the middle, all the way from from crotch to head.
It's like fully like down the front and the back, you're saying?
Yeah, all around.
All right.
I mean, you do see some changing of color with Chewie. I wonder if that's professionally done, right? You see, like, he's a little blonder in some movies. I wonder if that's he's paying for that.
Only a stylist knows for sure.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen like a fighting Wookiee who's like made it like done like a Travis Bickle thing to look intimidating,
Well, we did mohawk. Kind of in the Revenge of the Sith, right? Didn't we see some kind of they had armor and they had some kind of I think some of them kind of styled up a little bit. They had more braids and more things to try to look more intimidating.
Yeah, we definitely saw braids.
Not with shaving, not with cutting the hair.
They had braids.
So we have seen them with braids. Yeah, that's
you
got to get that done. It's hard to do that yourself.
And remember, Chewie had when he pretended to be a bounty hunter in Shadows of the Empire, he gave himself a flat top, I think, or somebody gave him a flat top. I don't know if he did it himself.
Really? So they have grooming. They have hair grooming. I was thinking, maybe the reason a lot of older characters like Luke Skywalker end up with beards like I do now is because there's no shaving. So beards go one way in one direction only. Once you stop shaving for a week, that's it. You're going to have a beard the rest of your life. There's no way to get rid of it ever. They've never come up with a way to get rid of it. But no, what I was going to say is this reminds me of, since we're now doing the Chewbacca memorial and paying tribute to him, our best memories of Chewbacca. When I was a little kid, I saw the trailer for either the trailer for Return of the Jedi or the trailer for The Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. I was very young. I don't remember which one it was. 3 years apart. I was very young. But there's a shot that it cuts to where it's Chewie and he's like raging and his hair is all wild. And for a brief moment, I thought that wasn't Chewie. I thought it was some bigger, crazier, scarier Wookiee that they were going to make him fight, that they had somewhere, like a cage match. And the Empire had captured this berserker Wookiee, and they were going to make Chewie fight. And I still think that would have been a great plot point and a great scene, and I still wanted them to do that someday. Like that's Chewie versus like a bigger, scarier Wookiee, who's like a maniac with crazy hair,
Black chrysanthemum.
Like him. That is a good example of the kind of guy I was thinking of.
How have they managed to not have Wookiee on Wookiee violence in these films?
Yeah, like a Wookiee who's been trained by the Empire and he's been electroshocked and made to be their their pit bull fighter, Or
even scarier, a Wookiee who chooses that, Then you get the haircut Wookiee, because he's trying to fit in with the Imperial thing. He's chosen to betray his people.
Oh yeah,
or maybe she's chosen to betray her people. I don't know. I just assume that
generally by nature, more peaceful. It's just that they're continually oppressed, and put into these bad situations. But obviously they have Life Day. They have obviously they have a lot of sentiment about, peacefulness in a way. It just seems like maybe they're a way more peaceful species than a lot of other species. But, they're just, I don't know. It's oppressed.
They do pull people's arms out of their sockets when they lose.
Well, that's true.
We hear.
Or if
that's
they're in
just
an elevator
Han's.
with them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's, sometimes you're using a little too, just like Rey, you're using a little too much force and it's like, boom, oops, sorry.
Well, yeah. I forgot how fragile you humans are.
What are your memories of Chewbacca? I think we should honor him.
Well, what is your memory of seeing this movie and seeing him explode in space? Did it hit you in the gut?
Upper atmosphere, maybe?
Yeah, not in space, but in the sky. Did that not hit you in the gut? Were you like, holy, right? I mean, that was a really dramatic. Do you remember seeing this?
I was suspicious of the moment.
Were you really?
I think I turned to my wife and I said, "Is Chewbacca? Oh no, he's not dead." Because we barely even had time to process what happened, and he literally shows up in the very next scene.
Right, you didn't even have time to ask him.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's the kind of thing where they were never going to send Grogu off and never see him again because people love him and they got to bring him back. They got to do that. We knew it was the last movie.
I mean, we knew it was the last movie.
Yeah, right.
Why not? Why not
gutsy
kill him off?
It would have. Why not kill him off? Why not kill off?
They should have just
killed Han Solo, Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Why not?
They should have just had all the original trilogy characters just show up and die. Just one at a time. Like we just met Lando. They should have had hey, other people show up.
Everyone except Lando. Lando could be the final man standing from it all.
Well, this was my. Did I have a note for that for today, or is it? Well, it'll come back. But yeah, it'll come back. So never mind. I'll bring it up on Wednesday if you guys can come back from some more episodes. We haven't figured out the scheduling yet, but if you guys are here on Wednesday, I'm going to bring up something about Lando.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I might be here on Wednesday.
All right.
Well, I have some trivia about the movie. You ever see those things on YouTube where they have top 20 things you didn't know about Star Wars, and I sometimes click on it to see if there's even one thing in it that I didn't know about Star Wars, which there rarely is. So it's like 20 things you didn't know. So I have some trivia about the movie. I have which I'm going to be doling out over the week. I'll give you a few now. These are the top 20 things you didn't know about Star Wars. So I wanted to do 20 things you didn't know about Star Wars, specifically about this movie, The Rise of Skywalker. So these are the top 20 things you didn't know. It's 20 things.
100 things.
It's 520.
It's not 100 things. It's 5 things, but they're the 20 top things.
They're the top. I was going to say, are they the top or are they the bottom? Or are they the middle?
They're the 5
top.
No, they're 5.
They're at the top
of them.
Right, the 5.
They're the 5 top 20 things. And I'm going to give you 10 of them.
Okay.
10 of the 5 top 20 things.
Wait, let me get my calculator.
I'm not good with math. So starting with number 4, George Lucas was invited to see an early cut of this movie and said that he liked it, but admitted that he's not really into Star Wars.
Curious.
Yeah,
He's
weird.
an independent filmmaker.
I know, weird. Number three is the next. In France, the title of this film was La folle buffoonerie du petit Babou Frick. The crazy buffoonery of little Babu Frick, and it was released in black and white as a silent film. See, I bet you didn't know that. Vastly improving the film. I'd really like to see that. So
I'd like to see it, but
yeah. So there you go. That's
only 2 things.
Yeah, that's 2 of the 2.
Okay, I shouldn't question.
2 of the top 20 things you didn't know about Star Wars, and I have 10 of those.
Okay. And we got number 4.
And that was 3 and 4. Those are the top 2.
Warren.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess that will, unless anyone else says something specific to minute 41, we can wrap this thing up.
My only note is Kylo Ren has anti-Gib hair, and that was it. That's all I have.
Oh.
My last things, we didn't really get a chance
buried the lead there, Susan. That is something I would have wanted to discuss at length. The length of his hair.
It's a very hair-centric episode, this one.
Yeah.
True.
Well, thanks for joining us, Susan and Joe. And listeners, did you know that you can join us every weekend on Patreon, where we are currently reviewing Rebels, the Star Wars animated series from a few years back. And so if you want to hear our opinions about that, go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon, sign up, and you'll get to hear what we think of Chopper, Zeb, Ezra, and all the rest of the gang. On the next Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.
Minute. The minute. It's a minute.